What if I told you that right now, in 2025, Indonesia is secretly preparing to uncover the oldest pyramid in the world? How would you react? It's a massive structure buried for nearly 28,000 years, and it could prove that our ancestors already had advanced technology in the Ice Age. But global elites and skeptical scientists have been working together to block the discovery. Evidence has been pulled back, excavation shut down, all to hide our true origins. Stone statues and megaliths humming with strange frequencies. Priests channeling forgotten energies. Energies that might unlock free power. Or even reveal cosmic secrets. And a legendary flood links this site to the lost lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. Could this be the smoking gun of an ancient apocalypse? A disaster that wiped out an advanced civilization, leaving only survivors to rebuild humanity in the shadows. So, why after such groundbreaking discoveries was this research suddenly silenced and the excavation put on hold? All that remains are whispers of powerful institutions hiding the truth to keep us from rediscovering who we really are. Hey everyone, I'm Youngshin. But don't jump to conclusions just yet. The answers, or maybe endless new questions, lie hidden in West Java, Indonesia, inside a little hill that seems ordinary at first glance, Mount Padang. It's at the center of one of today's fiercest archaeological battles. And this isn't just a dig. It has the power to rewrite history. This pyramid predates Egypt's Great Pyramid by over 20,000 years, challenging everything we thought we knew, from Darwin's theory of evolution to the timeline of human progress. If the deepest layers really do date back 28,000 years, as early scans suggest, then who were the builders? Were they just hunter-gatherers? Or did they possess advanced knowledge in metallurgy, astronomy, even engineering that could rival our own? Picture this. Beneath layers of soil and vegetation, scans reveal symmetrical terraces, possible hidden chambers, maybe even underground energy conduits, and those basalt columns, so perfectly arranged they couldn't be natural. But here's what's truly mind-blowing. The vibration frequency of the stones matches ancient tonal patterns, possibly designed to tap into Earth's magnetic field for purposes we can barely imagine. Stone levitation, healing energy, even communication with the cosmos. Then in 2023, this high-stakes drama escalated. Top geologist Danny Hilman Natawija from Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency published a bombshell paper in the Archaeological Perspection Journal. Using ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography, and core drilling, his team identified 3 distinct construction phases. The top layer, 2,500 to 3,500 years old. The middle, 7,500 to 8,300 years old. And the deepest and most shocking, dated to 25,000 to 28,000 years ago. That places Mount Padang firmly in the late Paleolithic era. According to the textbooks, humans back then were still painting caves. and sharpening stone tools, not building. Multi-layered pyramids spanning 150,000 square meters. The paper argued, these weren't random piles of rocks, but intentional architecture. Hidden cavities may even hold artifacts, evidence of a highly organized society. But the backlash erupted almost instantly. Like the volcanic forces that shaped the site itself, geologists argued, critics, including world-renowned archaeologists, argue that these claims simply don't hold up. They accuse the team of misreading soil samples and ignoring clear signs of natural erosion. By March 2024, the journal retracted the paper, citing major errors in linking radiocarbon-dated soil directly to human activity. The editors concluded that the dated material had no direct connection to the supposed artifacts, implying that the site's ancient layers might be purely geological and not man-made. But Dr. Nadawija and his colleagues pushed back, saying the retraction was rushed and ignored their comprehensive geophysical evidence. Their data shows artificial symmetry and hollow spaces that don't match natural processes. They argue this is academic gatekeeping, designed to protect the status quo and deny the possibility of a prehistoric civilization. But the retraction didn't end the controversy. It only fueled conspiracy theories hanging over the jungle, making them spread even more. Why would a peer-reviewed study be withdrawn without giving the authors a fair chance to respond? That's where whispers of suppression come in, with claims that global institutions, funded by governments and elite foundations, are guarding secrets that could upend society. Because if Gunung Padang proves humans built pyramids during the Ice Age, it would shatter the slow, linear story of human progress, suggesting instead that civilizations rise and fall in cycles, interrupted by cataclysm. Investigative journalist Graham Hancock spotlighted the site in his 2020 to Netflix series, Ancient Apocalypse, linking it to other mysterious sites around the world. Japan's Yonaguni underwater ruins, Turkey's Göbekli Tepe, and even the Sphinx, which he suggests might be far older than Egypt's pharaohs. Hancock proposes that a mother civilization thrived 12,000 years ago, before being destroyed by a comet strike or melting ice sheets. Floods drowned lowlands like Sundaland, a landmass now buried beneath the sea, which once connected Indonesia to mainland Asia. He believes the survivors scattered worldwide, inspiring Plato's tale of Atlantis. And 19th century explorer James Churchward's writings about a lost Pacific continent called Mu. Adding fuel are strange tests revealing bizarre anomalies. Stones resonating at high frequencies that align astonishingly with Pythagorean harmonics and modern Western tuning. Could this be evidence of sound technology, similar to Nikola Tesla's resonance experiments, or echoes of ancient myths of singing stones? Some theorists suggest the pyramid may have been a massive resonator, tapping into Earth's magnetic energy to heal or expand consciousness. Knowledge that, they claim, could have come from extraterrestrial visitors. The very idea behind the ancient astronaut theory. Local Sundanese legends add to the mystery. Speaking of a sacred mountain built by a divine king, as a refuge from a great flood, echoing stories of Noah's Ark, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and flood myths from cultures around the world. What if that flood was real? Could it be a memory from 12,000 years ago? When rising seas by 120 meters swallowed coastal civilizations, drowning advanced societies along the shorelines. Fast forward to 2025. The mystery only deepens. In February, Indonesia's Minister of Culture, Fadli Zon, publicly called for a new investigation of Gunung Padang, saying the ongoing controversy needs a clear answer. By July, the government announced phased restoration plans, starting with research this year, before moving to physical reconstruction. The move came just as social media went wild, flooded with AI-generated images that were quickly debunked, showing the mountain as a perfect jungle pyramid. But skeptics still insist it's nothing more than a natural volcanic plug. This is actually just a natural volcanic plug. But then, around to 5,000 years ago, massive stone structures were added. At the same time, excavations uncovered some very intriguing artifacts. Coins that predate known currency by thousands of years. A cement mix containing hematite and silica. And tools suggesting far-reaching oceanic trade networks. All of this points to a society capable of aligning ... their monuments with the stars, possibly long before written history. They may have navigated by the stars or held rituals guided by them. And now, as Indonesian authorities prepare for a new excavation ... we're standing at a crossroads. Will these new digs prove Dr. Nada Widge's bold theories? Will they uncover chambers filled with lost technologies or star maps? Or will they back up the skeptics, leaving Mount Padang as nothing more than a natural wonder? But here's a more provocative thought. What if the site's energy was deliberately sealed away ... and only now, with climate shifts and global upheavals, it's beginning to awaken? Could this resurgence be a cosmic signal meant for our own time? Or is there a hidden hand delaying the truth, fearing that humanity ain't ready yet to face the reality of alien influence, ancient nuclear wars, or catastrophic resets that echo apocalyptic events of the past? These questions remain unanswered ... drawing us deeper into the unknown, where the veil of history is thin and the impossible beckons. High in the lush mountains of West Java, mist curls around ancient trees, and the air is heavy with unspoken secrets. Here lies a place that has fascinated locals for generations. Mount Padang, the Mountain of Enlightenment. It's not just a landmark, but a living stage where myth and Sundanese culture intertwine. Oral traditions tell of sacred kings, miracles performed overnight, and profound links to the spirit world. For the indigenous Karya Mukti villagers, this mountain has long been seen as a place of power, a meeting point between the earthly and the divine. Legend says that in the 15th century, a mythical ruler of the Pajajaran kingdom. King Siliwangi himself attempted something truly audacious here: to build a grand palace in a single night. According to the stories, he called upon supernatural powers for help. But when dawn broke, the structure was still incomplete. It froze in time as a terraced monument, a testament to both ambition and human limits. Some versions say he was thwarted by powerful spirits or divine forces, leaving behind a labyrinth of stone terraces, echoing with the sorrow of unfulfilled destiny. Other versions frame it as a deliberate act of enlightenment. A pyramid-like structure built to channel cosmic energy and align with the stars, granting wisdom to those who climbed it. These aren't just folk tales. They carry deeper resonance, hinting at forgotten rituals and ancestral reverence. Villagers call Mount Padang Pandamban. Here, offerings are made to the spirit of the land. It's said that the stones themselves hold memory, vibrating with subtle energy, able to heal the sick or reveal visions to those pure in heart. In quiet moments, elders tell how the mountain became a refuge in times of chaos. After a great flood, survivors gathered on these highlands, their stories echoing global flood myths. But rooted in the landscape of Sundaland, a landmass that once connected Indonesia to mainland Asia, but now lies beneath the sea. This has led many to wonder, could the terraces of Mount Padang be the remnants of a pre-flood sanctuary? Were its builders attuned to Earth's rhythms in ways we can barely grasp today? The word Padang itself means field or plain. But here, it hints at enlightenment, as if this is a place of spiritual ascension. Shamans once held full moon ceremonies here, calling on ancestors to guide the living. Yet behind these enchanting stories lurks a shadow of conspiracy. Why do these legends feel so alive? As if guarding a truth too deep, too heavy to be taken lightly. It was within this web of myth that European explorers first arrived. Their presence signaled the clash between colonial ambition and native mysticism. In 1914, at the height of Dutch colonial rule in the East Indies, historian and archaeologist Nicholas Johannes Kroom ventured deep into the thick jungles around Gunung Padang. Kroom, a meticulous scholar of the Dutch Archaeological Service, was drawn by whispers from plantation owners and local guides. Rumors of a strange stone structure on a remote mountain peak. For Dutch East Indies scholars, such finds were precious treasures. Ruins scattered across the islands were romanticized as echoes of lost grandeur. But Padang would prove to be something very different. As Kroom hacked through the dense undergrowth, he came upon rows of massive basalt columns and terraced platforms, overgrown with weeds, yet clearly arranged by human hands. These weren't random boulders. They formed deliberate steps, climbing up the hillside, flanked by walls, hinting at once sacred enclosures. In his official report, Kroom described the site as a megalithic complex, possibly a prehistoric sanctuary, and called for deeper investigation. He noted the locals' reverence for the place, linking it to the legend of King Siliwangi. But between the lines, there was condescension. He dismissed the native myths as fanciful embellishments of what he believed were relatively recent ruins. Crome could not have known, or perhaps chose to ignore, the possibility that this discovery might overturn Europe's history-centric worldview. At a time when empires justified their rule by branding Asian societies primitive, the notion of a vast megalithic site, older than Europe's own monuments, was inconvenient, even dangerous. Conspiracy theorists suggest the Dutch authorities deliberately downplayed the discovery, burying Crome's report in bureaucratic archives to avoid fueling Indonesian nationalism. After all, if Gunung Padang was proven to be an ancient engineering marvel, it could spark claims that Southeast Asian civilizations rivaled or even surpassed those of the West. Such ideas, in the early 1900s, would have only fueled the growing independence movement. Crome's requests for professional excavation were ignored. The site slowly faded from memory, the terraces once again swallowed by vines and moss, as if the mountain itself conspired to keep its secret. For decades, it slept undisturbed, save for the locals who continued their pilgrimages, leaving flowers and incense by the stones, keeping alive rituals that blended Hinduism, Buddhism, and animism. The king's unfinished palace became a metaphor for broken heritage, a place where time itself folded, preserving mysteries for future generations to unravel. Then in 1979, the veil lifted once more, not through academic pursuit, but by chance, in everyday life. 3 local farmers, Andy S. and Abaddon, while tending their fields, stumbled upon exposed stone walls and unusual formations hidden beneath soil and roots. An ordinary day in the rice fields suddenly turned into a moment of revelation. These weren't natural outcrops, but remnants of something monumental. Intrigued by the symmetry and scale, they alerted the authorities, setting off a chain of events that brought Gunung Padang back into the spotlight. By then, Indonesia, independent since 1949, was in the midst of nation building, eager to reclaim its heritage from colonial narratives. The government's Archaeology Bureau sent a team to investigate. They confirmed Crome's earlier observations, but expanded on them with a fresh perspective. Excavations uncovered more than 400 andesite columns, some weighing hundreds of kilos, arranged across 5 terraces, spanning several thousand square meters. The farmers' discovery resonated with legends they had heard since childhood, as if the forgotten soul of the king himself had guided them to unearth his legacy. When archaeologists mapped the terraces, they uncovered subtle clues that deepened the site's mystery. Alignments toward the blazing sun, and offerings buried in ways that echo spiritual practices still alive today. Local shamans saw this rediscovery as a powerful sign, the ancestors calling out to protect the mountain from exploitation. Yet even in this moment of revelation, shadows of doubt quietly spread. Why had this site been overlooked for so long? Some theorists suggest that colonial maps deliberately omitted detailed surveys, part of a broader strategy to suppress indigenous pride, making it easier to extract resources without cultural resistance. The 1979 discovery was exciting, but it was initially dated to 2500 to 1500 BC. A timeline that neatly fit the consensus, yet failed to capture the deeper antiquity hinted at in legends. This cautious approach pushed the site back into obscurity, its true depth left unexplored, waiting for bolder excavations. But what if those early finds were just a prelude to something greater? Perhaps the legends of giants and sacred kings encode memories of lost technologies, stone shaped by sound waves, or the collective labor of generations, later remembered as miracles. Peeling back layers of history and myth, we see Mount Padang as more than stone, each terrace unlocking questions about humanity's forgotten creativity. That farmer's chance discovery in 1979 bridged folklore and fact, seeding debates that challenge our entire understanding of the past. Now I'm curious, dear listeners, where are you joining me from tonight? Maybe a quiet corner in London, a lively cafe in Jakarta, or a cozy bed in New York. What time is it where you are? As you and I dive together into these ancient mysteries, share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's see just how far this story has traveled across the globe. As we climb another slope of the Mount Padang enigma, let's immerse ourselves in the tangible wonders that define this site. Not through distant myths or early reports, but by peeling back its physical layers, one by one. What makes this mountain so profoundly disruptive to our understanding of history? Is its architecture? A bold defiance of natural chaos, a massive complex of terraces, chambers, and alignments, crafted with astonishing precision. Mount Padang spans about 150,000 square meters, spread across 5 visible terraces. Each one is a mysterious plateau, rising toward the summit. These aren't gentle slopes, but carefully cut steps of andesite and basalt from fiery ancient eruptions, materials born from the molten heart of volcanoes. Forged by fire, the lowest terrace alone stretches across a vast area, dotted with hundreds of stone columns, some towering meters high, weighing up to 300 kilos, arranged in enclosures and astronomical patterns. Moving upward, the terraces grow narrower, forming the outline of a stepped pyramid, reminiscent of Teotihuacan in Mexico, or Caral in Peru. But if the grand claim holds true, he predates them by tens of thousands of years. The passages between these layers are all linked by a central staircase, a monumental pathway of 370 steps, carved straight into the bedrock, flanked by retaining walls that have endured thousands of years of heat, rain, and earthquakes. This isn't just a walkway. It's more like a ceremonial avenue wide enough for crowds to ascend. Perhaps once used for rituals under the stars. Today, local guides describe the climb as a meditative challenge. Each step's rhythm syncs with the subtle tremors of the mountain, hinting at deeper mysteries we're about to uncover. But the surface is just the beginning. Using ground-penetrating radar and resistivity scans, Dr. Choud, who reads geophysical survey, peeled back the skin of the Earth, revealing hidden layers below. An underground world that transforms Mount Padang from a mountain into a labyrinth. The top layer is made of visible terraces, built with loosely stacked stone columns. Erosion studies and artifact analysis date it roughly between 500 BC and 1500 AD. But when scanners dug deeper, Unit 2 appeared at 3 to 5 meters down. A denser layer of rock and soil, showing signs of deliberate filling and alignment. Dating places at around 7,500 to 8,300 years ago. And then comes the most breathtaking Unit 3. Buried 15 meters deep. A dense mix of broken basalt and ancient sediments. Radiocarbon dating places it at 25,000 to 28,000 years old. And this layer isn't random rubble. Scans show hollow chambers, possibly tombs or tunnels extending into the hillside, with walls that bear marks of intentional breaking and shaping. Seismic profiles suggest these voids could stretch for dozens of meters, perhaps hiding undiscovered relics, or acting as amplifiers due to their strange acoustics. Deeper still, beyond 20 meters, there are even hints of a Unit 4. Crushed rock with unusual cavities, which some interpret as a foundational core, possibly natural, but repurposed by ancient builders to stabilize the site. The entire structure rests on the plug of an extinct volcano, a natural pedestal that rises above the plains, as if chosen deliberately for its commanding view and geological uniqueness. This layered architecture feels like a canvas, where generations added their own stones, while respecting the ancient foundation, each year leaving its own signature. What fuels endless curiosity is how these structures defy our assumptions about the timeline of technology. Think about the stones themselves. Hexagonal basalt columns, resembling Ireland's Giant's Causeway. But here, moved and reoriented by humans, and without wheels or beasts of burden. They somehow hauled these massive blocks up a 90-meter slope. That suggests advanced logistics, ramps, levers, or maybe something more mysterious. Legends worldwide speak of sonic levitation. Preliminary analysis of the site's mechanics shows a cement-like binder deep within the structure, a mix of clay, silica, and iron oxide, holding stones together with unusual strength. This isn't crude mortar. It's a geochemical recipe, hinting that long before metallurgy, people were experimenting with adhesives. And if Unit 3's dating is correct, It means that during the last ice age, a society had already mastered quarrying, shaping, and assembling structures on a massive scale. Were they tracking celestial cycles, as later surveys suggest, aligning terraces with a blazing sun? Or was this built as a defensive fortress, rising high above the ruins of the sundered continent? It stands against the relentless rise of the sea. These astonishing timelines come from a symphony of scientific methods. Each one adds a layer of mystery. Take the radioactive testing of organic material found in the soil, the clay foundation, with samples from Unit 3. All consistently date back to around 28,000 years ago. And those dates are confirmed by quartz grain luminescence testing. The evidence lines up. And these aren't isolated readings. Dozens of other samples across the site point to the same conclusion. Together, they sketch out a step-by-step building process, from the Paleolithic to the Neolithic. But these dates sparked fierce debate. Critics argue that organic material may have been intrusive, carried in later by floods or burrowing animals, making it unrelated to human activity. Supporters counter with geophysical evidence. Radar scans reveal symmetrical anomalies that defy natural geology. One such chamber, 12 meters deep, measures roughly 10 by 15 meters. Its shape is far too regular to be the result of volcanic fissures. So, what could it hold? Artifacts from a forgotten era. The bones of builders who once sailed icy seas. Or, as wilder theories suggest, stone or metal tablets engraved with knowledge, encoding astronomical data. This mix of hard evidence and bold speculation echoes mysteries found across the globe, adding to the site's allure. Think of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, with its 11,000-year-old T-shaped pillars, arranged in layers, challenging the idea of primitive hunter-gatherers. Or Japan's Yonaguni underwater steps, which some believe were terraced 20,000 years ago, and may be linked by ancient causeways. Gunung Padang now joins this puzzle, hinting at an Ice Age network of megalithic innovators who may have shared technology across lands, now lost beneath the sea. But why is the truth here so tangled, so controversial? Conspiracy threads run deep and persistent. Skeptics quickly dismiss the site as a fake pyramid. That sounds like institutional inertia, protecting funding tied to traditional narratives. Others suggest deeper motives. If Gunung Padang proves advanced engineering in the Stone Age, it could bolster the ancient aliens theory that visitors from the stars shared secrets of resonance and material science. And then there are the strange acoustic anomalies here. 10 stones emit frequencies of 440 Hz, the same tuning standard used in modern music, perhaps designed for resonance effects. Experiments show that these vibrations amplify visibly, creating standing waves that may induce altered states of consciousness, or even strengthen structures. Could this be suppressed alien tech, hidden by governments fearing mass panic? Or perhaps they whirring free sound-based energy, might topple today's energy monopolies. Around 28,000 years ago coincides with Heinrich Event 2, a period of massive ice sheet collapse and rapid sea level changes. Coastal societies may have been forced inland, up to higher ground. Pollen studies from the site reveal a shift from glacial plants to tropical species, matching global warming pulses that may have inspired ancient flood legends. The echoes are clear. Picture it. People fleeing rising seas, turning this place into a beacon, a survival ziggurat, layered higher and higher as memories faded. And yet, the controversy rages on. In 2023, a detailed paper in Archaeological Prospection presented these very findings. But by 2024 it was retracted over alleged methodological flaws, though not before sparking global debate. Now, in 2025, the story continues. Indonesia's culture minister, Fadli Zon, called in February for renewed study, alongside a phased restoration project set to begin this year. This shows the site won't just be buried under controversy. By July, a government announcement confirmed restoration work. Using cosmic ray dating and other advanced methods like radionuclide testing, they could refine the timeline. Even further, these developments sparked fresh speculation. Could new excavations reveal metal artifacts buried deep underground? Proof of pre-Iron Age smelting technology. Or perhaps inscriptions tied to the lost language of the mythical mother continent that Churchward claimed. From a conspiracy theory angle, things get even wilder. What if powerful think tanks saw the site's hidden energy potential and stalled excavation to secretly harness it? Echoing the way Tesla's inventions were suppressed. Could the chambers hold bioluminescent fungi or quartz crystals that amplify vibrations, natural technology for enlightenment or communication? Core samples revealed pollen traces, hinting at non-native plants never found locally. Could ancient seafarers have crossed vast plains from another continent and brought them here? Gunung Padang structure, with its symmetrical terraces and stunning precision, poses a direct challenge to history. Every terrace, every hollowed chamber holds possibilities. Maybe an observatory tracking comets that could destroy worlds, or a resonance chamber, tuning human minds to cosmic frequencies. The site itself survived earthquakes that flattened smaller structures, hinting at ancient seismic engineering, perhaps through flexible stonework or sacred geometry. As restoration work continues into 2025, we're edging closer to answers, but also uncovering even bigger questions. Inevitably, they lead us back to the minds of those who first dreamed up this wonder. From here, the path leads to the visionaries who safeguarded these secrets. Their struggles now woven into the immortal legend of the pyramid. Dr. Danny Hilmananeta Pradya first turned his gaze toward Gunung Padang in the early 21st century. But he wasn't chasing pyramids or lost civilizations. He was a geologist, focused on earthquakes and tectonic shifts, working for Indonesia's National Research and Innovation Agency. His specialty lay in unraveling Earth's restless movements. Not digging for humanity's buried past. Yet this modest hill in West Java sparked his scientific curiosity. A nagging sense that beneath its silhouette lay more than volcanic rock formations. What if the whispered legends of the locals were more than just folklore, but echoes of a deeper truth? What anomalies might lie beneath the soil, defying conventional history? This shift from fault lines to forgotten ages marked a personal transformation and the beginning of a new scientific journey, one that would propel Gunung Padang into global headlines. Blending cutting-edge technology with bold questions about humanity's origins. Hillman's journey began with a survey of Chandra wetlands in 2011. With the backing of Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, Hillman assembled a multidisciplinary team: geophysicists, archaeologists, and soil scientists from the Indonesian Institute of Sciences and top universities. Their tools were a far cry from dogs and shovels of early explorers. Instead, they wielded modern marvels that let them peer underground without disturbing the earth. Ground-penetrating radar became their main window into the depths, sending electromagnetic pulses below and mapping the reflected signals from hidden layers. This non-invasive technology was like giving the Earth an MRI scan. The data revealed density changes that hinted at man-made structures. Natural rock wouldn't create such sharp boundaries. Then came electrical resistance imaging to back up the radar scans. By sending current through the soil, they measured how it resisted. Differences in conductivity highlighted hidden voids, or even artificial fillings. Seismic imaging tied all three techniques together. Controlled vibrations mapped how waves traveled, their speed, drawing a blueprint of hidden chambers, like an acoustic X-ray. Together, these tools revealed something astonishing. Beneath the visible terraces was a massive, layered structure. Each layer pointed to construction spanning thousands of years. Hillman's team identified Unit 1 as the giant surface stones, likely 2,000 to 3,000 years old. But the deeper they scanned, Unit 2 appeared 3 to 5 meters down. Densely packed, neatly arranged stones, or organic samples between them, dated to 7,500 years ago. But the real shock was Unit 3, 15 meters below. A modified basalt core, dated between 16,000 and 28,000 years ago. Just imagine, as this data streamed into their field tent, the readings hinted at a chamber nearly 10 by 15 meters wide. Its walls may even have been smoothed by ancient hands. In interviews, Hillman described them as man-made voids, not random cracks. Their symmetry was simply too precise to be natural formations. But what were they used for? Echo chambers for rituals, vaults of hidden knowledge, or, as some have speculated, channels for harnessing geothermal energy. By 2013, Hillman's discoveries were so groundbreaking that the government stepped in, A presidential decree created a full-scale research team. They drilled core samples, slender cylinders of Earth, pulled out like time capsules. Inside, pollen trapped in the sediments, and luminescence dating added new mysteries. It measured the last time minerals saw sunlight, confirming the layers were buried before any known civilization. Hillman believed Mount Padang was a pyramid-like structure, not built all at once, but through generations of effort. Later societies revered and expanded upon the ancient core. That idea captured global imagination. Some stones even resonated at 440 Hz, leading to speculation about intentional tuning. Were these chambers scanned for echoes to detect slanted, hidden voids? Hillman's team went further. Experimenting with magnetics, they detected anomalies suggesting metallic inclusions or aligned crystals hidden below. Hints of lost metallurgical knowledge. But, as the evidence grew, so did opposition. In 2023, Hillman published an archaeological prospection detailing his methods. He presented radar scans of layered densities and seismic cross-sections, outlining buried architecture. He argued for human intervention dating back to the Paleolithic. Peer reviewers initially approved the paper, but scrutiny after publication led to its retraction in 2024. The reason? Claims of mismatched dates and artifacts. Hillman strongly disagreed, arguing the journal ignored supplemental evidence he had submitted during the review process. This included seismic scans showing symmetry, too precise to be geological. In a statement, he called it academic politics, hinting at vested interests protecting orthodox history. The controversy only fueled public curiosity. What if the retraction was covering up deeper fears? Core samples revealed iron-rich cement, suggesting early Iron Age technology, and pollen from non-native plants hinted at ancient trade across lost continents, trade routes crossing vanished plains. Fast forward to 2025. Hillman's research pressed on despite restrictions. In February, Indonesia's culture minister, Fadli Zon, publicly called for a reinvestigation, echoing Hillman's demand to resolve the debate. By July, the government announced a phased restoration plan. They publicly pushed for a reinvestigation, echoing Hillman's call to settle the controversy. By July, the government rolled out a phased restoration plan. Before any digging begins, they'll first focus on non-invasive surveys. That might include drones and LiDAR scans to create high-resolution terrain maps. Sherman spoke at the Cosmic Summit in June 2025, sharing updates on plans to explore these underground chambers. Earlier that year, at Matt Baird's Poke Infinite event, he revealed plans to use enhanced seismic arrays to map out the detected tunnels. These images could provide a clearer view of the underground network, possibly stretching for hundreds of meters. Some may have started as natural lava tubes, but Hillman suspects they were expanded by humans, maybe for rice cultivation or forgotten pathways. New tech upgrades include satellite hyperspectral imaging and AI-driven data fusion. Hillman's persistence comes from one powerful what-if. What if Mount Padang is a gateway to a prehistoric world? A world where humans harness sound and stone in ways we can barely imagine, using resonance as a tool of power. His 2025 team even turned to bioacoustics, using sensitive microphones to record vibrations in the stones, linking them with carefully carved geometric patterns. Early results showed certain frequencies amplify in hollow spaces, reminding some of ancient acoustic engineering. Could this explain myths of singing stones used in rituals, or connect to Tesla-inspired theories of resonant energy? Hillman compared it to sites like Malta's Hypogeum of Cals Afflini, suggesting a global web of shared ancient knowledge. But obstacles remain. Funding cuts after withdrawals, and critics like Flint Dibble raising objections. This year's efforts may include international partnerships and portable subsurface scanning. Sherman envisions this could reveal sealed chambers, perhaps holding organic remains for DNA analysis, helping trace the origins of the builders. By mid-2025, social media buzzed over AI simulations based on his data, imagining the mountaintop as a bustling Ice Age hub. But shadows remain. Why was the project halted after the new government took power in 2014? Hillman hinted at political pressure, possibly tied to mining interests in the region. Companies eyeing volcanic resources. Conspiracy theories swirl, claiming global elites suppressed findings that could upend the belief that civilization developed only after the Great Flood. Hillman's narrative blends personal conviction with rigorous scientific inquiry. From his geological perspective, technology is now illuminating what once seemed impossible. At the Cosmic Summit, he presented 2025 rock samples, showing unusual quartz patterns that may generate piezoelectric effects under pressure, hinting at ancient energy harvesting designs. What could these forgotten experiments have powered? Healing, communication devices. As plants advance to send robot crawlers, equipped with cameras and spectrometers, deep into the tunnels. Curiosity is reaching its peak, with initiatives like Fadlison's gaining traction. Hillman stands at the forefront. His research is a beacon for those daring to question official history. Yet, the mysteries remain. What if star maps or coded scripts are found inside? How would that reshape our place in the cosmos? Hillman's evolving vision of science and belief invites us to consider whether Mount Padang guards a key to surviving future catastrophes, a legacy left by ancestors who endured ice and flood. From tectonic plates to time portals, his journey underscores a truth. The Earth whispers secrets, captured through radar and resonance. Secrets that may be humanity's untold story. Lessons from ancestors who faced cataclysm head-on. Perhaps reminding us of the resilience we still carry, and of possibilities yet unseen. A reminder that technology doesn't just reveal the past. It may guide our future. The echo of a symphony retold. As the restoration phase of 2025 begins, Sherman's vision propels us toward nights who may echo forever. From this point, the story shifts to the unearthed relics, each one a mystery, a spark within the fire. Amid fierce debates and digital echoes, Surrounding the contested timeline of Mount Padang, a quieter revolution unfolds through friendly relics pulled from the soil, objects of memory that defy the limits of what primitive societies were thought capable of. As excavations continued, supplementary discoveries emerged, like puzzle pieces from a grand mosaic, each one challenging us to rethink how humans verified, built, and blurred the boundaries between ancient craft and modern science in ways we never expected. So, let's begin this hands-on exploration. Artifact by artifact, every object unearthed sets off a chain of wonder. Could these be tokens from a vanished era? Deliberately preserved to send messages across millennia? Or are they simply anomalies twisted by time and interpretation? First, let's look at a mysterious coin uncovered in 2013. At first it seemed ordinary, but it quickly unraveled into something profound. Early reports described it as a small metallic disc with faint engravings. But these were no ordinary coins. Radiocarbon analysis of organic traces found with them dates the artifacts to around 5,200 BC. That's over 4,600 years earlier than the earliest known coins of Lydia. Sherman's team found them in the upper terraces, mixed in with pottery shards and tools. Their composition, copper with alloy traces, suggests deliberate smelting. But it was the symbols that fascinated. Abstract patterns resembling celestial alignments, or proto-script similar to Indus Valley seals, were these prehistoric prototypes of money, used for trade across vast networks, long before formal economies. Or, as bolder voices suggest, were they symbolic amulets charged with ritual meaning, meant to harness the site's energy? One particularly controversial piece, at first mistaken for a colonial lira Dutch coin-like disc, was later re-examined for deeper origins, triggering accusations of misdating. Critics argued it undermined the site's antiquity, but supporters claimed it may have been a layered artifact, reused across ages, embedding Paleolithic origins into its later history. This coin controversy wove itself together with other discoveries, personal ornaments and daily tools, painting a richer portrait of Mount Padang's ancient inhabitants. Excavations at mid-terraces revealed jewelry, necklaces of quartz and obsidian beads, their facets catching light, as though crafted for optical effect, or perhaps symbolic display. These beads were strung on preserved fibers, dating back to around 3000 BC. But their origins puzzled experts. Obsidian traced to distant volcanic islands, hinting at seafaring trade routes. When sea levels were lower, linking Indonesia, Melanesia, and perhaps even farther regions. Alongside them came fine ceramics, not crude hand-molded clay, but wheel-thrown pottery, with complex glazes, suggesting kill techniques that predate known Asian innovations by centuries. Shards bore spirals and animal motifs, eerily similar to carvings at Göbekli Tepe, a stunning parallel, were ideas carried across continents by ancient sailors Or do they point instead to something embedded deep within the human mind? A universal language of imagination. A shared code that transcends time and place. Ideas spreading across continents. Or maybe it points to something wired deep inside the human mind. A universal language of symbols. Tools and weapons only push this trend further, turning Padang Mountain from a silent monument into a lively hub of activity. Stone axes pulled from soil cores have edges polished to the razor-sharp standard of the Neolithic, but faint traces of metal on some blades spark questions about iron forced into basalt. Dating takes us back as far as 7000 BC, hinting at early experiments in smelting ore. Long before the Iron Age cavalry of around 1200 BC. Imagine that. Picture this: a society living high on volcanic slopes, forging tools from local minerals, maybe even harnessing geothermal heat as a natural forge. Some axe edges show wear from hunting or combat, but their symmetry suggests a ceremonial purpose too. Blades lined up with cardinal directions, may be used in sky-watching rituals. Thanks to the site's alkaline soil, these finds are remarkably well preserved, fueling endless speculation. Were these artisans isolated geniuses, or part of a global network, trading secrets of early metallurgy when sea levels rose and cut off connections? Did that knowledge vanish? At the heart of these revelations is an ancient cement compound, a binding agent that cements Padang Mountain's place as an engineering mystery. Deep core samples reveal a mortar-like substance holding basalt columns together, a complex mix of clay, silica, and iron oxide, a hydraulic cement that hardens in water or damp conditions. This isn't crude mud. Geochemical tests show it was fired above 800 degrees Celsius to resist erosion, and it dates back 25,000 to 28,000 years. Over 20,000 years before Roman concrete, and millennia before Egyptian lime mortar. Iron elements from local hematite seem deliberately added to boost strength, like prehistoric rebar, crafted with ancient techniques. Hillman's team, in a paper later retracted, but still influential, argued this proves advanced geochemical knowledge, perhaps born from watching volcanic activity. The real controversy, lab reconstruction showed, this cement could conduct weak electrical charges linked to magnetic anomalies. Could it have been part of an energy grid? Were pyramids once capacitors, storing the Earth's magnetic energy? And these unusual properties tie into the site's strange acoustics. Tones ringing out in frequencies that match Western scales. Hillman's team, using accelerometers, found buried chambers amplified vibrations, creating trance-inducing overtones. That's no accident. Quartz in the cement may have worked as pressure enhancers, producing voltage under seismic stress. If ancient builders sensed this, They might have tuned it like a giant instrument for ritual or even healing. No wonder conspiracy theories thrive. If this technology predates recorded history, why was it suppressed? Some theorists link it to Tesla's Wardenclyffe and other inventions buried by time, claiming elites hoard such knowledge to protect fossil fuel dominance. Rumors in 2025 forums suggest that restoration plans may repurpose chambers as sound healing rooms, echoing Pythagoras' mysteries. Placing these artifacts in a broader context makes their allure even stronger. Coins found in India's Pais region echo these unofficial discoveries, suggesting parallel evolution in distant civilizations. Jewelry designs resemble Australian Bradshaw art from 20,000 years ago, hinting at migrating people carrying cultural codes. Paintings, all pointing to travelers who spread shared traditions. And those iron traces in the tools, it brings to mind the early smelting of Africa's No culture, hinting at cross-continental knowledge exchange. And the cement, it looks strikingly similar to Peru's geopolymer from the Pumapunku Valley, fueling the theory of alien teachers passing down recipes. But this debate has never stopped. In 2024, a paper was retracted, claiming the artifacts had no link to the soil's dating. They suggested it could just be natural deposits. Popular Mechanics criticized it as a case of misidentification, saying the coins were likely colonial-era relics. But Hillman countered, pointing out the artifacts were sealed in undisturbed layers. After restoration kicked off in 2025, new digs raised hopes of finding metal scrolls or resonance crystals. With Fadley's push and government announcements, progress seemed clear. But the involvement of tourism funding stirred controversy. Was commercialization watering down science or bringing truth to light? These finds, the coins as economic pioneers, the jewelry as cultural bridges, the tools as sparks of innovation, and the cement as a triumph of metallurgy, all weave together a trend of creativity that challenges history itself. Each artifact is asking, what lost manual guided their creation? Do they encode a flood warning or a survival blueprint? The relics of Mount Padang are calling us to hear the whispers in stone. With a metallic sheen, they unlock a forgotten world. And all of this sets the stage for fierce battles in academia. In the halls of scholarship, the Mount Padang storm only grows stronger. Explorers like Hillman stand firm, calling it an Ice Age wonder. Skeptics dismiss it as fantasy born of data misread. In October 2023, Hillman's paper in Archaeological Prospecting was retracted in March 2024. Editor said there were major errors in linking soil dating to human activity. A serious mistake. Flint from Gate of University, along with Dipole and others, argued that organic matter might have moved naturally, with no connection to human structures. A critique in Nature pointed out that deeper layers lack direct artifacts, and the symmetrical voids could be natural formations. They stressed, extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence, and opposition is nothing new. Back in 2014, the Bonding Archaeological Center accused Hillman's team of violating excavation rules. Some in the international community even labeled them pseudo-archaeologists. But here's the thing. Many critics never visited the site or analyze the raw data themselves. Their rushed conclusions may come from discomfort with the idea that Ice Age humans possessed advanced creativity. Hillman and his supporters hit back, calling the retraction too hasty. They said the journal ignored supplementary evidence like seismic profiles showing artificial layouts. Crucial proof. Graham, Hancock, and others called it academic gatekeeping, a move to protect the Clovis first model and other mainstream frameworks, while suppressing disruptive discoveries, just like the Sphinx water erosion debate. On social media, hashtags like #PADANGTruth took off when enthusiasts noticed the retraction notice didn't mention elevation data and other anomalies. They saw it as a move to protect the Egypt Pyramid Club and sideline Southeast Asian prehistory. The sudden suspension of the 2014 project only deepened the mystery. The Jacawi government halted excavation over procedural violations. Rumors spread that Hillman's discoveries tied to the previous regime's knowledge, clashing with the new government's focus on economic growth over heritage. And with the site so close to mining zones, some suspected it was really about blocking the creation of a protected area. Hillman said that during this dark period, equipment sat idle, data gathered dust, and vegetation took over, as if the terraces themselves were hiding their secrets. But in 2025, the tide began to turn. In January, Indonesian media report the government is digging in with a deep investigation. In February, Fadli Zon urged restarting the research, calling it a national treasure. By July, officials announced a phased restoration, beginning with non-invasive surveys. Hillman voiced optimism at forums like the Cosmos Summit, hinting at international collaboration to boost credibility. Yet resistance remains. April 2025. The start of a new Asia wave. Mainstream academics keep pushing back, stalling progress, while Tempo magazine calls for a global alliance to verify the claims. With independent oversight to settle the controversy, why move now? Some see it as Indonesia asserting cultural sovereignty, using tourism to lift the real economy. Others say the timing links to retractions and analyses, and to hype around the oldest pyramid claims. Conspiracy theorists speculate powerful interests tied to pharma or energy giants fear its secrets in acoustics or materials science, worried it could spark a free energy or alternative medicine revolution. Much like past ancient apocalypse flare-ups, where alternative history was loudly debunked. If the restored finds all prove to be artifacts from a long-lost civilization, would that vindicate Plato's Atlantis? A metaphor for a drowned continent. The lesson of the pause still stands. Politics and academia entwined can block discoveries that might illuminate our origins. Hillman keeps stressing transparency, making people wonder, are there suppressed reports in the archives? Have any scans been made public? As restoration advances, scholars are watching warily. Will this confirm, or us ignite another round of debate? This drama, part rigor, part conspiracy, forces us to ask, whose history did we inherit? And what powers are writing it now? With that, the spotlight swings worldwide. This site isn't isolated. It links to Japan's Yonaguni underwater structures, Turkey's Göbekli Tepe, and legends of a Pacific mother continent, forming a web of mystery. Through geography, myth, and theory, These sites hint at a civilization that thrived in the Ice Age, then drowned and forgotten, leaving ciphers for anyone bold enough to connect the dots. In 1986, fisherman Kihachiro Arate discovered the Yonaguni underwater formations, towering like a stepped pyramid, 30 meters deep, 290 meters long, 120 meters wide, with markings that look like roads and carvings. Reports in April 2025 say the debate still rages: natural sandstone or human-made wonder older than Egypt's pyramids. Ryukyu University's Masaki Kimura argues it's man-made, while Boston University's Robert Schoch calls it a geological formation shaped by the sea. Its parallels with Gunung Padang are striking. Both have terraced, pyramid-like forms, with proposed dates reaching as far back as 20,000 years. In June 2025, Guangming News reported new sonar indicating possible underwater tunnels at Yonaguni, perhaps echoing cavities beneath Gunung Padang, were the ancient sea routes for sailors, moving between the drowned continent and the Ryukyu chain. Traces of an age long gone, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, excavated since 1995 by Klaus Schmidt, has rewritten prehistory, a site from around 11,000 BCE, 6,000 years before Stonehenge, with circular enclosures of T-shaped pillars, 6 meters tall and 20 tons apiece, carved with animals and abstract symbols. In February 2025, the Jerusalem Post noted only 10% has been excavated, with 150 years still to go. A wild boar statue was found recently, and geophysics reveals 20+ similar circles underground, suggesting that hunter-gatherers, without farming or metal tools, could still organize massive builds. Its common ground with Gunung Padang is striking. Both are layered, deliberately buried structures, perhaps marking protected sacred spaces or seasonal cycles. In June 2025, new megalithic findings suggested that near Karahan Tepe, a newly discovered enclosure of pillar rings has emerged, lined up with the astronomical layout of Mount Padang. The theory suggests that 12,000 years ago, the Younger Dryas event sparked the spread of ideas across the globe, wiping out shamans, or perhaps seeding a shared memory of catastrophe that connects these ancient sites. As Hancock writes, they were outposts of a riverine age of civilization. The Göbekli Tepe's carvings show comets destroying civilizations, echoing legends of a great Pacific mother continent. A web of clues woven into a sweeping speculation. In the 19th century, Auguste Le Plongeon misread Maya texts and declared it the cradle of humanity. By the 1920s, James Churchward claimed it stretched from Easter Island to Micronesia, where 64 million people wielded crystal-powered levitation technology. Before sinking 50,000 years ago, geologists dismissed this as impossible. Yet in Micronesia, the basalt city of Non-Madal, and Easter Island's Moai statues keep the legends alive. In January 2025, RBC Ukraine explored links between Atlantis and Lemuria, noting that post-Ice Age sea rise could explain flood myths worldwide. Churchward claimed ancient Indian texts recorded the motherland's destruction, and survivors carried civilization to Egypt, the Maya, and Asia, with Mount Padang possibly serving as a refuge for this lost continent. The connections are daunting. The theorized range of this motherland overlaps with Mount Padang's valley. Yonaguni would have been its eastern watchtower, Göbekli Tepe its western one, perhaps built as bridges for refugees of the motherland. In February 2025, a viral Facebook post linked Yonaguni directly to the motherland and connected it to non-metal, claiming its sinking explained Göbekli Tepe and the shared spiral symbols found at Mount Padang. Yet recent media reports cite geological evidence of massive tsunamis, casting doubt on the motherland idea. Conspiracy theorists argue that in January 2025, Louis Wolff questioned whether cults were hiding evidence of a lost continent, Mu. The Atlas files even suggest that anomalies near Hawaii are linked to believers' experiments on the motherland, or structures tied to Yonaguni. In this web of connections, Mount Padang becomes the Pacific's Göbekli Tepe, and Yonaguni a silent outpost of the motherland. Each side a clue pointing back to a forgotten past. Do the submerged archives off Indonesia's coast link these mysterious beacons? In 2025, new finds at Karahan Tepe and BBC debates over Yonaguni only deepen the puzzle. Could the ghost of a mother continent explain the shared traditions from Göbekli Tepe stone circles to Mount Padang? The echoes are uncanny. Some ancient astronaut theorists insist these megaliths were seeded from the stars. A strange allure that urges us to sing of continents rising and falling, of civilizations whispering across time, of secrets hidden between worlds of ruin. Beneath accepted history lies a dark labyrinth of tales, of vast lost empires and shadowed dynasties that challenge the very roots of our knowledge. I often wonder, what if the Great Flood wasn't a single biblical event, but something orchestrated by unknown forces, a cyclical reset of civilization hidden from view? From Atlantis to Lemuria to Tartaria, ancient wonders reach out from ruins and forgotten texts. But what do they really mean? On forums, conspiracy-driven documentaries argue that global elites deliberately erase evidence of advanced ancient pioneers to control the story we inherit. At the heart of these theories is the claim that the Great Flood was man-made apocalypse, not a natural disaster. In Magicians of the Gods*, Hancock wrote that 12,000 years ago, a comet triggered massive melting, drowning coastal empires and resetting humanity. Conspiracy theorists go even further. This is the alien overseer, or the grand reset by ancient secret societies, wiping out modern civilization. In July 2025, Saba Daily reported Göbekli Tepe's tourism boom, with its comet carvings and animal symbols, interpreted as warnings of such events. In truth, any advanced civilization fears mountain resonance, because free energy threatens today's power structures. Red whistleblower theories claim elites hoard this knowledge. Even Yonaguni Island hints at whether it's real. By 2025, floods and hidden civilizations are revealed. Whole cities possibly buried by electromagnetic fusion and liquefied soil, all tied to the global Tartarian architecture. Evidence buried to keep us reliant on fossil fuels, echoing Tesla's suppressed inventions. They lived in a false history empire called Tartaria, whose story claims floods erased a utopia. In December 2023, Discovery magazine featured a sacred tree referring to Siberia's Tartarian lands, which evolved into the 19th century, powered by anti-gravity technology, and spire-filled superpowers across the globe. Before being destroyed, believers point to odd remnants, like buried lower floors of San Francisco buildings, claiming fires were just a cover-up. On August 2, 2025, Everything Interesting updated that Tartarians built the capital, and even the Great Wall by giants or advanced tech, later drowned by cataclysmic floods, connecting to Mount Pagan. Theorists believe its terraces were flood refuges, while the Pacific mother continent sank into silence. Schilchik Ward, back in the 1920s, spoke of a crystal civilization that may have led survivors to Indonesia's Mount Padang. And the orphan trains of the 19th century. In April 2025, a conspiracy on X claimed that after Tartaria fell, they repopulated the world using incubator babies displayed at world fairs. A second Noah's Ark, preserving giant and hybrid species from before the flood, like Plato's Atlantis, which in modern legends merges with Lemuria and even blends into Tartaria, all resurfacing in myths. As reported in 2022 by an obscure royal archive, that ancient ministries passed down dangerous myths. But Graham Hancock, in an October 2024 interview, insisted a true northern river empire once existed, destroyed by a comet-triggered flood. In July 2025, reports again noted Göbekli Tepe aligned with flood disasters, and survivors may have built it as a memorial. Historians coding it into cataclysmic myths. On X, user @BombBrockman, in June 2025, highlighted Gujarat, India's Kamhit region, where a 12,000-year-old sunken civilization was found, as proof that global floods wiped out ancient cultures. If Atlantis' dark legacy is true, it came with solar radiation, like a cosmic medicine. In 2023, How Stoffworks linked this to Sumerian myths, like Gilgamesh, and Hindu tales of Manu cross-cultural flood legends, suggesting a shared trauma, or maybe even a deliberate reset, to curb overpopulation or tech abuse. Back in 2012, ABC News interviewed Titanic discoverer Robert Ballard, who said evidence from the Black Sea proves Noah's flood happened 7,000 years ago as a real event. But theorists expanded it into multiple global resets, each wiping civilizations away, fueling speculation that elites or even aliens engineered them. In 2025, a user on S platform, Atejasant Welt, reframed myths as star gods after the flood, with survivors gathering at Mount Padang, among hundreds of stone pillars, seen as historical markers, calling Tartaria a flood-buried city, where electromagnetic weapons buried free energy grids. Such wild theories spark wonder. Were floods really cyclical? Is another one coming? Are today's elites descendants of that mother continent, using underground bunkers as modern-day arks? Did survivors at Mount Padang deliberately choose the high ground? Did Yonaguni's ruins mark a lost continental gateway? Did Göbekli Tepe's burial preserve knowledge after the flood? Do its magnetic relics signal an ancient energy grid reboot? New excavations are set to begin in 2025. The truth may soon emerge, or sink even deeper into the shadows. This tale of illusion, disappearance, and ruin offers a revelation for our time. A lost world, reflecting the fragility of our present. In an age of global connection through technology, Mount Padang challenges the neat story of humans evolving from hunters to modern thinkers. That familiar narrative could unravel if Hillman's discoveries hold even a sliver of truth. They hint at cycles of rise and collapse, advanced societies fading long before recorded history. Or maybe we are the real disaster for understanding itself. This isn't just about rewriting textbooks. It's about reshaping how we see ourselves in the face of climate change, pandemics, and global upheaval. Echoes of the ancient floods still resonate. The stakes for our view of history are profound. For decades, the cradle of civilization was fixed in Mesopotamia or along the Nile River. Southeast Asia was pushed to the margins, framed as later influenced by India or China. But Mount Padang disrupts that script, positioning Indonesia as a possible cradle of early innovation, a hidden center of progress, as Fadli Zon urged in February 2025. New research could even make it a symbol of national pride, a driver of tourism and cultural identity in a post-truth age. By July, the Indonesian government announced phased restoration, aiming for UNESCO status, breathing new life into the site. But the mystery remains. Is this restoration a genuine search for truth? Or a strategic move in a heated debate? In March 2025, viral images of a perfect pyramid in the jungle, supposedly at Mount Padang, showed how misinformation spreads like wildfire. Public fascination tangled with academic debate, fueling confusion in a world awash in fake news. In this era of endless content, Mount Padang becomes a test of truth itself, a reminder that history isn't fixed. It's a living conversation, shaped by storytellers, and beyond that its strange structures and ancient cement formulas hint at possibilities for modern sustainability. If the stones really resonate, as early tests suggest, they might sync with human consciousness, or even Earth itself. Could that unlock renewable energy? Or breakthroughs in health technology? In an age of climate anxiety, as seas rise and cities face flooding, Mount Padang speaks of highland survivors, people who endured the deluge. By 2025, social platforms buzzed with theories about piezoelectric stones, solar-like panels, or medical tech hidden in its design. But the retraction of a 2023 paper is a cautionary tale. Not because the data was wrong, but because the interpretation stretched too far. It raised bigger questions about academic freedom, funding, and politics in the modern world. As Hillman forges new collaborations, we must ask ourselves, are we uncovering a lost blueprint of ancient technology? Or us reimagining nature's beauty, with a touch of human habitation added later? This puzzle runs deep, down to the philosophical roots of creativity itself. In a world blurred by AI-generated wonders overnight, Mount Padang forces us to ask, where do we really come from? Were our ancestors guided by aliens, as some 2025 posts claim? Or was human genius always enough? In 2025, scholars like Snows pushed back on the oldest pyramid hype, but admitted it could predate Giza. That possibility shakes Darwin's slow and steady model, hinting that leaps in human progress may come from sudden pressures, environmental or otherwise. Amid the global turmoil of 2025, Mount Padang reminds us, civilizations rise and fall, long before their stories are ever written down. We're left piecing together their lessons. If restoration uncovers ancient DNA, it could rewrite the map of human ancestry, connecting us more closely to the innovators of the River Age. But perhaps the real allure lies elsewhere. In the open questions, Mount Padang still poses questions that linger in our minds at night. What disaster truly buried its builders? And are we facing something similar today? But the real fascination lies in the open questions Mount Padang raises. They haunt our thoughts before sleep. What disaster truly buried these ancient builders? And could something similar threaten us today? If their initiation tests connect to modern therapy, could they unlock new paths to mental well-being in our anxious age? The secret of their geopolymer cement. Might it revolutionize greenhousing in today's crisis? And the links between Yanaguni and Göbekli Tepe. Do they suggest that long before writing, a prehistoric internet once spread knowledge across regions? These questions spill into ethics. Should we dig relentlessly? Or preserve the mystery for future generations? As the 2025 updates remind us, local communities still treat it as a spiritual center, with rituals continuing, even as restoration unfolds. In our diverse world, balancing science and cultural respect is essential. Here, if Mount Padang is truly older than Gizeh's pyramids, it could democratize history, restoring pride to overlooked regions. But the shadow of retraction still lingers. Are we ready for a paradigm shift? In every corner, a whisper. As we journey west, we're tracing forgotten ages from the edge of time, linking this mountain of mystery to global enigmas. From Yanaguni's submerged steps, to Göbekli Tepe's stone circles, to legends of lost continents. Along the way, we trace Hillman's groundbreaking research, navigate academic battles, and ponder artifacts hinting at lost technologies. Resonant stones, ancient secret cements, coins older than known economies. But beyond facts and debates lies the journey's deeper meaning. History isn't a closed book, but an open frontier, inviting us to dream, to seek truth in the shadows of the past. And in closing, let us take inspiration. From Greece, Mount Padang is a weapon against modern arrogance, forcing us to rethink the human timeline. If Hillman's geophysical scans are right, ruins deep within could date back 28,000 years, shattering the myth of linear progress, revealing cycles of brilliance and collapse. They echo global flood myths, and perhaps commemorate real catastrophes. Stones vibrating at 440 Hz and ancient river alignments all hint at lost sciences, or blueprints for today's renewable innovations, harnessing energy for building. Could this be their legacy? In January 2025, Indonesia vowed to reveal secrets. In February, Fadli tried to stake his claim in the controversy. By July, phased restoration was announced. In March, PhD scientists reignited old debates. Mainstream resistance may not just be caution, but fear of disruption. Leaked charts only fueled public curiosity. These 2025 developments breathe life into Padang's mystery, perhaps soon revealing new chambers and artifacts that could rewrite human origins. Yet for every answer, more questions remain. What disaster truly buried these builders? A comet, a tidal surge, or something man-made? If their energy aligns with natural cycles, could it unlock healing or even free energy for our world? From the 2024 paper Retractions to the 2014 excavations, was it just academic caution? Or forces guarding secrets that could shake civilization's foundations? Linked with Yonaguni's 20,000-year-old terraces and Göbekli Tepe's 11,000-year-old stones, Padang may be part of a prehistoric network, sharing knowledge across drowned lands, or rooted in a legendary mother continent. As restoration moves forward in 2025, will it prove to be a natural formation or undeniable evidence of an ancient empire?